I'm smiling because I have a terrific family, a very committed husband, and my children, one is 24, 23, 18 and 17-year-old, and they're going to college. We're all in school. It's like, oh gosh, Mom, I got finals. I do too. So we study together. The positive influence piece of going to school and working and trying to do the next right thing, it had a stronger impact on them than what was going on in their peer groups. I spent 26 months at Coffee Creek Correctional Facility and then had to really figure out a plan as to what my future was going to look like. Given the current economic climate, it would be very competitive to gain employment with legal history. I was very afraid and hopeless.
Even though for many, many years I had a very strong work ethic and I had good job experience, when you get down to the application where you have to check the box where it says, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And it says, this will not determine whether or not you get hired, and yet yes, it will determine whether or not you get hired.
There are problems when you have a conviction history on your record, and that makes actually gaining gainful employment very difficult. Because just answering the question, have you ever been convicted of a felony on a job application, means that you could be indiscriminately screened out.
When I take a look at those who have been formerly incarcerated, they are some of the most multi-barriered individuals we have. Many might say, that's their problem, they did the crime. What I'm saying is that if they want to turn their life around and they want to contribute, then they ought to have a chance to do that.
I think the hardest thing that we face is being accepted back to the community. Employers just don't want to give you a chance when you have, convicted felon. I think that people that's getting out of prison will make good employees because they're eager to go to work. And after being in prison working for 10 cents or $1 a day, most of the time when you get out, you're already supervised. You got a parole officer. So, if there are any problems, they got someone they can call.
As a community, we do have the responsibility of doing our small little part that we have to do to make our community safer, create jobs, and make sure that our local economy is growing. And the only way we can do that is by supporting each other.
We as a society have said, you need a timeout, send that person away. Well, then why is it when they come back that we don't say, okay, you've done your time? I mean, what do we do with our children? When our children have problems and we put them in timeout, as soon as they come out of timeout, we don't beat them again for what they did.
There isn't a lot of difference between someone coming to me out of the correction system versus somebody coming to me off the street. In 90 days, you have an evaluation, and if after 90 days it's clear your team members, and it's your team members who will give us the feedback that say they're a contributing member to the group or not.
I found that a lot of people, they need a second chance, and they're out there, they're trying to prove themselves, and they're almost working harder and doing more to prove themselves. And there's bad apples in every group, whether it's formerly incarcerated or not formerly incarcerated. So, I tend to take it all with a grain of salt and treat people as people and fairly, and give everybody an opportunity until they've done something or proven something wrong to me. Take each individual as an individual, and trust your gut.
When I got my first paycheck, I was like, it was for $67. I'm getting goosebumps right now, but it's like, that I earned this. I didn't have to go steal for it. And it's, it was just such a, I remember that, I'm sorry, but, to have that ability to go out and work.
I can't say what majority comes out wanting to change their life around like me, but if they're out there willing to look and apply at jobs, then maybe they're willing to take a step up and try to change their lives around. And when society just kicks them back down, they're going to end up right back where they started. Oh my gosh, it's been 11 years. Oh my gosh, and do what I was doing out there and turning my life around and doing what I'm doing today is, it's awesome. All right.
We're dealing with people that haven't worked in a long time. We're dealing with people who have probably struggled, and if given the opportunity to make a livable wage, they would do really well. They're hungry, they're eager, they don't want to fall back into the same behavior that they came out of. So a lot of them have a great deal of drive and desire to change.
In the past few years, we've seen cities like San Francisco, Boston, Chicago, Seattle, Minneapolis, St. Paul, all fundamentally change their approach to hiring to make their jobs more available to qualified people with conviction histories. Because when you're asking about it on the initial job application, oftentimes people are likely not to apply at all. And if you're doing that, it's reducing your pool of qualified candidates, which is not a great thing to do from a hiring and business practice. You want to expand your pool of qualified candidates.
What employers can do is review a policy that they may have in place and establish a baseline that they think is okay. So rather than go out and think, how do I start this? I'm all alone. I think it's about them reaching into some of the organizations that have been doing this for years to get assistance on how to develop those policies and maybe how to develop that baseline.
So once I got out, all I needed was a chance, was an opportunity, because I did my part. I worked on myself from the inside out. I attained some skills, and I just needed some help. I started as an office assistant. Now I've been promoted to administrative assistant. And I can remember at one point in my life not being able to get keys to an apartment. Now I got keys to almost everything in the building. Statistics said that I would never make it out, that I would die or I'd do my life on installment in prison. But you know, that didn't happen, and I'm still here. You know, and I'm still being successful, and I'm going to continue to, because change is possible, and I became the change that I wanted to see.
My life today, man, is blessed. I can hold my head up high. Today, I have a life, and my life is worth, like I say, it matters.
I don't think just because someone has a criminal record that should disqualify them from being able to get an opportunity to do the job, especially if they're the best qualified person to do their job.
We have this new lease on life, and we want to do something with it, but all we can do is really put our effort out, reach out for help when we can.
And basically what I'm looking for and what other people are looking for with criminal histories is just the opportunity. I mean, as it stands right now, I don't even get the opportunity to meet with employers.
Where is my redemption? For real. I mean, I did my time. I paid my dues. I've worked really hard. Is there ever a time that I get to be like every other citizen in the United States?